Well, hello everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 43 on YouTube. So, just want to get on here pretty quickly. Um, Want to make some predictions for the rest of week 18. We already started week 18 with the Chiefs beating the Raiders 31-13 in Vegas, and the Chiefs actually had clinched the number one seed in the AFC playoffs. So Chiefs did what they need to do to ensure they were the number one team. And Raiders, they finished the season at 6-11. Um, Chiefs, they finished the year at 14-3. Uh, Very impressive. Honestly, I think the Chargers would have, delivered at least one victory over the Chiefs, but both games were pretty close. Um, Hopefully, the Chargers will meet the Chiefs up for a third time, and maybe the third time will be the lucky charm this season. So, hopefully, the Chargers will get to meet them and make a fun game out of it and maybe pull off the upset. So, the other game, it was the Titans and Jaguars. Titans were ahead for the entire game until there was only 2:51 left in the game, where um, Titans fumbled the ball, apparently, and the Jaguars picked it up and they ran it in for a touchdown to win 20-16. And with that victory, the Jacksonville Jaguars have clinched the AFC South division title and the number 4 seed. And with that comes they have to face the number 5 seed. They get to host them, and right now the Chargers are currently holding that number 5 spot. So, and for the Chargers, they are facing the Denver Broncos, and with the victory, the Chargers with the victory will seal the number 5 spot and will be traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars for the first round of the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to that. Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert. That's instant ratings. That's fireworks, a shootout, and also a revenge game because Jacksonville Jaguars, um, they played the Chargers at the right time. Justin Herbert was hurt, but he insisted on playing. And Jacksonville embarrassed us at SoFi Stadium, but I think it's time to pay back the favor and win in Jacksonville and move on and most likely face the Kansas City Chiefs in the KC. And well, if you face a team 2 times and you lost to them 2 times, hopefully the third time you've studied them and know how to beat them. So, with that, Jacksonville finished at 9-8, and the Tennessee Titans, they lost 7 in a row and finished the year at 7-10. That's just amazing how Tennessee Titans were 7-3 at one point, and then they fired their GM and haven't won in 7 weeks, and quarterback got hurt, and it looks like the Tennessee Titans had been using their third quarterback recently, and just didn't work. Just did not work. So kudos to the Jaguars. They've turned things around, and they are gaining a lot of confidence. But honestly, I'd like to see where this gonna go for Jacksonville. They got a quarterback, they got a running back, uh, and I guess the defense and offense is coming together. They have a coach that's way better than Urban Meyer, non-toxic, and hopefully there'll be a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars and Chargers um, rivalry games coming up in the next maybe the next 10 years. So let's see what happens with that. So obviously, I am going to pick the Chargers to beat the Broncos. Next up, we have Buccaneers and Falcons. Buccaneers had already clinched the NFC South Division title. This one, they have nothing to play for. They can't gain any more spots in the seeding, so they're stuck at number 4. But, it's nice to kind of you know, stay with the routine. Know that you're gonna play every week anyway. So um, I think the you know what I'm gonna say Buccaneers will beat the Falcons in this game. Tom Brady will probably play at least a half in this one. And well, Buccaneers should finish 9-8 with a winning record as a division champ because it'll look weird that a division champ is 8-9. But I mean, it's not the first time really. You know about the Seattle Seahawks. They were 7-9, hosting a playoff game against 12-4 defending Super Bowl champions at the time, the New Orleans Saints, and Seattle beat the Saints. It was the Russian touchdown by Marshawn Lynch that actually made the fan-made earthquake during that run because they had like the Richter scale, and apparently it registered just enough to show that there was a earthquake-like action going on in that area. It just happened to be the stadium with everybody jumping because Marshawn Lynch went on a monster run for a touchdown from like, I don't know, was it like over 50 yards or something? So crazy stuff. Um, okay, going back to week 18, we also have Patriots and Bills. Bills need to win, obviously, because if they win and they make it to the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs, um, it would be hosted at a neutral site now that there was a rule change and it was approved by the NFL owners. Um, Patriots need to win because they technically are in the driver's seat, and with the victory over the Bills, they would clinch the playoff spot, the seventh and final playoff spot with a victory. But the Bills are also playing for something too. So my guess is that the Bills will beat the Patriots and will put the Patriots in a very precarious position because they are going to need some help with the Steelers would need to lose, and Dolphins I guess would need to lose too, and that will allow to Patriots will keep their playoff spot if that happens. But I don't think that's going to happen. Next up we have Vikings and Bears. Vikings should beat the Bears in this one. Um, there's a slight chance Vikings might regain their number 2 seed, but I kind of doubt it because I think the 49ers will beat the Cardinals. Next up, we have um, Ravens and Bengals. Technically, the Bengals have already won the AFC North division title, but if they win, they get to avoid a possible coin flip for home field between the Ravens and Bengals should Ravens beat the Bengals. But I think the Bengals will beat the Ravens. Uh, Next up, we have Texans and Colts. I don't think the Texans have any reason to win this game, so I'm going to pick the Colts to win this one. But I know Texans don't want to like obviously make it seem like they're going to lose the game. They might make it competitive, but I might be wrong. But I'm just going to pick the Colts to win this one. Next up, we have Jets and Dolphins. Jets are already eliminated. Dolphins do need a win, and they need some help. I think the Dolphins might actually win this one, actually. Um, but it might require both the Patriots and Steelers to lose. Next up, we have Panthers and Saints. They really have nothing to play for other than pride and draft position. But the I think the Saints will beat the Panthers. Next up, we have Steelers and Browns. This is going to be a little interesting because the Browns can play spoiler. If Steelers win, they are in a good position to take the Patriots playoff spot because I think the Bills will already beat the Patriots. And if that's the case, Steelers beat the Browns. I think Steelers will beat the Browns. but it's gonna be a tough one because Browns will probably try their best to stop the Steelers from getting into the playoffs. And you guys already know I'm already picking Chargers over Broncos. Next up, we have Eagles and Giants. I think Jalen Hurts will play in this game. Eagles just need a victory to ensure that they get the number one seed in the first round bye, since there's 7 teams. Um, the Giants are already locked in the number 6 seed, so they didn't have nothing to gain in this game actually. Um, Obviously, 49ers will beat the Cardinals. With the victory, they will seal at least the number 2 spot. No way they're losing. Kyler Murray's not even playing for the Cardinals, so um, Seahawks and Rams. It's interesting because the scenario right now is that Seahawks, Lions, and Packers. They are all 8-8, and as it stands, the Seahawks um, they are currently holding the playoff spot number 7, the final playoff spot, because the current tiebreaker at this moment is that when you have 2 teams coming from the same division, you have to figure out which one to rank higher. In this case, since the Lions beat the Packers, Lions are rated ahead of Packers, and so it eliminates the Packers in this particular situation. And then now you can compare between Lions and Seahawks, but Seahawks beat the Lions, so in that case, Seahawks has the tiebreaker over the Lions, and Lions have the tiebreaker over the Packers. And that means Seahawks currently hold the number 7 seed. Now, here's the thing. If Seahawks win against the Rams, it will actually eliminate the Lions before the Lions and Packers play each other for Sunday Night Football, which was intended to be a winner-take-all for the last playoff spot. Now, if Seahawks beat the Rams, that eliminates the Lions from getting into the playoffs, but it does not eliminate the Packers because the Packers have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks because I guess the Packers beat the Seahawks. So the Lions are really in a position of playing for a winner take all if the Seahawks lose, or they'll play spoiler if the Seahawks win. So I think what's going to happen is Seahawks will beat the Rams. And then you have Cowboys and Commanders. Cowboys cannot do better than the number 5 seed. They can't get worse than the 5 seed. Commanders have already been eliminated from last week when they lost to the Browns. So I think Cowboys will still play most of the game like seriously, and will beat the Commanders. So and then between Lions and Packers, I do think that it's not going to be winner take all, but I do think that Lions will play like a spoiler. But I think Packers will beat the Lions, but it'll be very close. So and those are my picks for Week 18. So follow them if you like. Make some money off of those picks if you like, and have fun with it. Be safe, and then I did go to Cali Banh Mi in Garnet Avenue, Pacific Beach. I got the surf and turf sandwich and the Datbik combination. Both great choices. Both are super yummy. The bread is so soft. The ingredients are very fresh and tasty. I totally recommend it. I give it a 9 out of 10. And I did go to a comedy show, 2 of them, Friday night at the Mic Drop in Claremont Mesa Boulevard. The first one, it was Deadliners, hosted by comedian Nick BK and Christian Ricketts. So it started off with Nick BK did some stand-up, funny guy. Finally got to see his stand up, and um, I thought it was 8.5 out of 10, and I have funny jokes. And then Christian Ricketts, the other co-host, I thought his comedy was about a 8 out of 10. Um, I think it started off kind of slow, and it was slow starting, and it's slow to kind of get the crowd into it. So, but he has some decent jokes. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Um, I remember they had Alex PT or Alex Pettit. Um, I would say his comedy was probably a 7.9 at best. Um, I think some parts of his material was kind of mean spirited, but overall, some jokes. He's joking. But I think there was yes, there was Bob Hansen. Uh, this is the second time I've seen him. I saw him at Cash Comedy at the Pally Wine Company in Little Italy before. Um, I thought Bob Hansen, um, you know, he has his karate chops, and he does talk about how he's the guy that you don't want to talk to if you're in a couple or you're in a marriage. He gets uninvited to weddings apparently. But I thought he was, I would say, 8 out of 10 for his comedy. Um, there was also Sarah Hirschberg. Um, I still love her bit about the whole how she can hear her neighbors having sex. One sounds like they're having a good time and doing things right, and envious of what they're doing. And then there's always that one neighbor. It sounds like a cat coughed up a hairball, apparently during sex. So that's always funny to me. And she's always nice, and I always love seeing her out there. I thought her comedy was 8.1 out of 10. Um, there was also Mikey Perry. He was out there. I like seeing him out there a lot more, and I can see him like just telling guys how to run the sound for these shows. So it's kind of full circle because he works at the mic drop, and just to work behind the scenes, and then know how to do sound as opposed to doing like being a waiter. Um, he has a lot of funny material. I thought his comedy was 8 out of 10. Um, and he should have more free reign once he feels comfortable, less stressed about how things should be done, and can't wait to see more of his stuff going forward. He has his own show with Short Jake, supposedly almost every month at the mic drop. The Joker's Wild. So um, we also had Camille Waters. She was on the show too. Um, she's always funny every time I see her, and she did kind of mix in her DC trip and Hunger Games and her husband, so that was a funny bit. Um, I think her comedy was like 8.3 out of 10. And then we have I guess it was their headliner. I guess his name was John Bullough. He's a comedian and a magician. Um, I would say his stuff was probably 8.1. There was a bit where he actually was trying to saw his right arm, and you could see some blood coming out of it, and it looked realistic. But if you just wipe your hand over the area where he's cutting, it was like, fake. It didn't seem like, it looked like, I guess you could say, the blades were probably being pushed up while he was sawing his arm. So um, he said that he was trying to show it in front of 6-year-olds, and apparently there's some birthday boy named Evan or Ryan, and he wanted our feedback about how he thinks this should go at a 6 year old's birthday party. So, that was pretty funny though. But yeah, I would say his overall act was 8.1 out of 10. So, um, right after that, Camille Waters again. Um, she stuck around because she's hosting the open mic at the mic drop. So there's like almost 20 comics that came up, did like 3 minute bits or something. Um, there were some pop-ins. One by Leo Flowers. Um, I thought his pop-in was about 8.3 out of 10. There was also a pop-in from, I guess he was the last one to go up, Ali Majay Ali Dalimi. He always brings his dog to the shows, no matter if he's performing or not. And I thought his stuff was about 8.3 as well. Um, he's usually a little more extreme if he has a longer set, but I guess he only had like maybe 5 or so minutes. So, and oh, there was a drop in by Grant Bozeman too. I think his was like maybe a 7.9 out of 10. He still talks about how he banged a 40-year-old. So, yeah. But overall, oh yeah, Camille Waters did do some stand up while she was being the host too. So, again, I mean, it was, she's a 8.3 out of 10 as well. So, there was a comic that actually was sitting at the same table as me. I guess it was a double date, but he sat close to the stage because he was going to go up himself. And he actually mentioned how he met his wife, who's happened to be there at the table, and then mentioned how um, the wedding photographer stuff, because there was a couple that was sitting with them, and talked about how the photographer was tied into the other couple. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah, because Christian Ricketts said that he was a wedding photographer. So yeah. So that was the kind of tie-in, I guess. I don't know if Christian Ricketts was the photographer for the other couple's wedding, but I guess it was, since I guess in a way they all kind of know each other. But overall, I would say the open mic at the mic drop was a lot better than the mic drop at the La Jolla Comedy Store. Um, I guess you could say better quality and bigger turnout, even though it's the smaller room, but it was a bigger turnout than the one at the bigger main room of the La Jolla Comedy Store. So, and usual, after the shows, both of them, I stop by and talk to everybody that I can, and tell them about this podcast. Tell them I love comedy, and I bounce between LA and San Diego for these shows, and got my pictures with them, and just kind of talk to them, and just kind of hang out a little bit. Don't need to talk to me for very long, but just to talk for like less than 5 minutes or something about life and how everyone's doing and why you like comedy. So that's why I like to keep doing this and talking about other stuff too. All right, um, that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna go sleep. This is Tiggy Maximus signing off. Have a fun weekend, everybody, and go Chargers.